Okay, here we go. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to session number 322 of Kevin Reed's A Course in Miracles. Okay, today in this lesson, we are in part 2 of the workbook for students. All right, workbook for students, part 2. We're focusing on the questions. This is question number 13, and it comes right after lesson 340, in case you're looking for it. So question number 13, what is a miracle? A miracle is correction. It does not create, nor really change at all. It merely looks on devastation and reminds the mind that what it sees is false. It undoes error, but does not attempt to go beyond perception, nor exceed the function of forgiveness. Thus, it stays within time's limits. Yet it paves the way for the return of timelessness and love's awakening. For fear must slip away under the gentle remedy it brings. A miracle contains the gift of grace, for it is given and received as one. And thus it illustrates the law of truth the world does not obey, because it fails entirely to understand its ways. A miracle inverts perception, which was upside down before, and thus it ends the strange distortions that were manifest. Now is perception open to truth. Now is forgiveness seen as justified. Forgiveness is the home of miracles. The eyes of Christ deliver them to all they look upon in mercy and in love. Perception stands corrected in his sight, and what was meant to curse has come to bless. Each lily of forgiveness offers all the world the silent miracle of love, and each is laid before the Word of God, upon the universal altar to Creator and creation in the light of perfect purity and endless joy. The miracle is taken first on faith, because to ask for it implies the mind has been made ready to conceive of what it cannot see and does not understand. Yet faith will bring its witnesses to show that what it rested on is really there. And thus the miracle would justify your faith in it and show it rested on a world more real than you saw before, a world redeemed from what you thought was there. Miracles fall like drops of healing rain from heaven on a dry and dusty world where starved and thirsty creatures come to die. Now they have water. Now the world is green, and everywhere the signs of life spring up to show that what is born can never die, and what has life has immortality. Okay. So, what is a miracle? A miracle is correction. All right? As I've been saying through the course of this project, I'm willing to have my perception corrected. I'm willing to see correctly. All right? The miracle is the correction. And so the miracle doesn't create anything. All right? It doesn't really change. It merely looks on devastation. My perception of the world is that it is devastated. or there's devastating things going on in the world. Right? Make note of that in the year 2025. All right. So the miracle looks on devastation. This merely looks on devastation, and reminds the mind that what it sees is false. All right. The miracle, as a correction, it undoes the error. The main error is believing that I am separated from God. I am separated from the oneness. I'm separated from my true nature. I'm separated from everything. I'm separated from the all that is. I'm separated from everywhere. Try to describe something ineffable. All right? So it undoes error. Right? And it doesn't attempt to go beyond perception. So the miracle stays within our world of form, a world of perception. Right? And it doesn't exceed the function of forgiveness. Right? The function of forgiveness is to have my perception corrected. I'm willing to see. I'm willing to see the innocence. I'm willing to see the correction. So the miracle is needed here in form. It doesn't go beyond that. It's not needed in heaven. Right? It's not needed in the oneness. I use the word heaven because that's the word we're used to using all our lives as we grow up. But it's our true existence. Right? The miracle isn't needed there because there's no correction to be made. So, it doesn't go beyond perception, and there's no need. It doesn't exceed the function of forgiveness. Thus, it stays within time's limits. It's here to correct all the misperceptions within time. All right. Yet it paves the way for the return of timelessness. All right. Each correction is paving the way toward the end of time. So we're, as the Course would say, we're using time to escape from time. We're using form to escape from the world of form. All right? And that's the miracle. Changing. It's a correction. It paves the way for the return of timelessness. And it paves the way to love's awakening. All right? For fear must slip away under the gentle remedy it brings. The gentle remedy is the gentle correction of my misperceptions. All right. And when my perceptions are corrected, fear diminishes. Fear must slip away under the gentle remedy it brings. Paragraph 2. A miracle contains the gift of grace, for it is given and received as one. Right? So the miracle, that correction, it contains the gift of grace. And what is that? It's your natural state of existence. That state of grace is your natural existence, your natural state of existence. So the miracle contains that. All right. Just what's coming up for me, I guess I have to verbalize it. They say the brain sees things holographically. Okay? And what that means is I could just see a piece of something familiar, just a little piece of it. And my mind will put together the whole picture. Okay? I mean, you could do it with just a little, someone someone you're very familiar with. All you'd have to do is see a little part of their facial features or something, and you say, oh yeah, that's Kevin. Your brain puts that together. All right? So in our mind, it contains the gift of grace. All right? It just contains the whole picture. And one day that whole picture will come into view. All right? The true nature of our existence will come into awareness. Okay? Okay. That's what it means by it paves the way for love's awakening. All right? So a miracle contains the state of grace, for it is given and received as one. When my perception of you has changed, all right, I was willing to have my perception changed. The innocence, in the Course, they refer to it a lot of times as a gift. All right, the process of forgiveness is a gift, but it's also given to me because little by little I remember my own perfect innocence, the fact that I never left the mind of God, my natural state of existence. Right? So the miracle contains the gift of grace, and thus it illustrates the law of truth the world does not obey, right? Because it fails entirely to understand its ways. So the world of form fails entirely to understand the ways of oneness, right? The law of truth. There is only oneness. There is only God. And you exist within the mind of God. Right? That's the law of truth. Right? To try to verbalize it. All right? So the miracle contains the gift of grace. And thus it illustrates the law of truth. All right. Which the world doesn't obey because it doesn't understand that. It doesn't understand the idea as there's only oneness. What are you talking about? There's 300 million people in the country. There's millions of cows. There's all kinds of different things. The world doesn't understand the oneness. So a miracle inverts perception which was upside down before, and thus it ends the strange distortions that were made. All right? So the miracle being a correction, it reverses the upside down thinking of the world. The upside down thinking of the world of separation. Right? And so it ends the strange distortions that were manifest. Those strange distortions, beginning with the belief that I separated from the oneness. Now everything becomes distorted. I automatically think I did something wrong because I automatically feel the loss, the lack. What did I do? Because now I believe I separated. I believe I did it. All right? And now my ego mind says, well, now you better run. All right? You better run. So we run into this. We make it manifest. We make these distortions manifest. We manifest the universe, everything in the universe, right? And everything in and on our planet. That's part of the distortions. And the first distortion is that I've separated from the oneness. That's distorted reality. Right? And thus begins perception. So a miracle inverts perception. It reverses it, it corrects it, which was upside down. And thus it ends the strange distortions that were manifest. All right? With practice, we bring our manifested distortions to the right mind. And we ask for the correction. All right? Now is perception open to the truth. And now is forgiveness seen as justified. All right? So forgiveness is seen as justified because I want to see correctly. So I can justify this process. I'm tired of attacking and defending. You get tired of it after a while. Just laughing because I remember one time telling the police, I said, no, because they had a habit of asking, what did you call us for? I said, because I'm too old to roll around in the street with these guys. I'm tired of it. All right. So it's just a silly aside. But what we're doing is, now forgiveness is justified, right? My corrected perception is justified, right? It didn't make sense to me after a while. You know, I was supposed to be managing some place at one point or another, and I had to tell this person that constantly was harassing me, the business and the patrons and everything. I had to tell them, look, I'm tired of it. Every day or every night, right, at a certain hour, you come past the window, you come by, you come in, and I have to remember, all of a sudden I have to remember why I hate you, why I have to keep you out, right? And that hatred is only based in fear. Right? So you become tired of it, and you become willing to have my perception changed, because after a while you see that nothing really works, right? And certainly did not want to be incarcerated. So there has to be a better way, and so we beseech our mind, help me to see correctly. All right? Now is forgiveness seen as justified. There has to be a better way. So forgiveness is the home of miracles, corrections. The eyes of Christ deliver them to all they look upon in mercy and in love. Very poetic metaphor. The eyes of Christ now deliver the corrections to you. All right? The eyes of Christ deliver them to all they look upon in mercy and in love. So, all things that I would love to see corrected, the eyes of Christ send me the corrections so that I may look on everything with mercy and love. Perception stands corrected in his sight And what was meant to curse has come to bless. Right? The reversal. Each lily of forgiveness offers all the world the silent miracle of love. Right? So I might be experiencing it as a specific episode in my life, but the one mind experiences it as a big leap toward the awareness of love. I mean, that's the way I could say it in form. That's the experience, I think. All right, so each lily of forgiveness, every time you're willing to be corrected, offers the world the silent miracle of love. All right, it spreads through the one mind. And each lily, each is laid before the Word of God, upon the universal altar to Creator and creation, in the light of perfect purity and endless joy. Right? Just more poetic images. The altar is always the mind. So each lily is put on the altar in the mind. All right? And the mind is dedicated to the Creator and the creation in the light of perfect purity and endless joy. So we come to that right mind in that spirit of perfect purity and endless joy. All right, and lay down those lilies of forgiveness. And then in a practical way, he says, the miracle, all right, the correction is taken first on faith. All right. It's, in order to start this path, there has to be faith. All right. There must be a better way, Bill Thetford said to Helen Schuckman. And she agreed and said, I'll help you find it. All right. And they joined together in the quest. Right? They took it on faith that there had to be a better way. In other words, that their perception of the way of each other and the whole faculty and everything, there had to be a different way of perceiving this. So first, the miracle was taken on faith. And he says this is true because to ask for it, to ask for the miracle, implies the mind has been made ready to conceive of what it cannot see and does not understand. So that's it. I'm willing to be corrected. I don't know what peace looks like. I don't know what innocence looks like. But I am willing to be shown. My mind is ready to conceive of what it cannot see and does not understand. All right? My mind cannot understand how this person can be innocent. My mind cannot understand. He's just despicable. All right? But that keeps me here in form. That idea. I'm projecting guilt onto this person. He's so terrible that I feel good about myself. And that's what the ego tells us. That's how you get rid of your guilt. You throw it onto somebody else. But that just perpetuates the idea. All right? So we realize it. I don't know, all right, what an innocent person looks like in this guy's case. All right. But I take it on faith that that's what it is. All right. The mind has been made ready to conceive of what it cannot see. All right, and I don't understand it. Jesus says, don't worry about it. Don't try to figure it out. Just be willing to experience the peace. Just be willing to experience the truth and the innocence. Right? That word throws up that barrier, that shock. How can they be innocent? But remember, what we're talking about is the true nature of people. Right? The true nature, beyond the disguise they've put on. Right? Whatever it is, however horrible it could be, beyond that disguise is their true nature. And their true nature is the same as me, because there's only one mind. And we are the offspring of the Creator. Okay? That's the true nature. And unless I'm willing to see that, I delay the awareness of my own innocence. So the miracle is taken first on faith, because to ask for it implies the mind has been made ready to conceive of what it cannot see and does not understand. Yet faith will bring its witnesses to show that what it rested on is really there. And thus the miracle will justify your faith in it and show that it rested on a world more real than what you saw before, a world redeemed from what you thought was there. All right? The more we practice this, the more confidence you will have in the process, because your faith in the process, right, will bring witnesses to show you that you were right. You were right. There is a better way. There is something other than this world of form. There is something other than what my mind tells me I'm seeing. Yet faith will bring its witnesses to show that what it rested on is really there. And basically, my mind rested on the belief in innocence, in oneness, in my connection to God, however you want to put it. So each time I practice forgiveness, my faith in it will become stronger. And thus the miracle, that correction, will justify your faith in it and show that it rested on a world more real than what you saw before, a world redeemed from what you thought was there. So what I think I see is horrible. But I'm willing to put down everything I think I know and come to the mind and say, I'm willing to be corrected. I'm willing to see peace. I'm willing to see innocence. I'm willing to see the truth. I don't know what it looks like. Show me. Okay? And it will show you a world more real than what you saw before. A world redeemed from what you thought was there. Right. And after practicing this with your everyday experiences, sooner or later, you will see what is referred to in the Course as the real world, where everything reflects the oneness. And then in the last paragraph, it reminded me, as I was reading it again, it reminds me of the scene from Shakespeare. I believe it's from The Merchant of Venice. But just listen. This is paragraph 5. Miracles fall like drops of healing rain from heaven on a dry and dusty world, where starved and thirsty creatures come to die. Now they have water. Now the world is green. And everywhere the signs of life spring up to show that what is born can never die. And what has life has immortality. Right? So all these changes of perception, all these miracles, right? They revitalize a dry and dusty world where everyone has come, starved, lacking something, and thirsty, looking to be quenched, where they come to die. Now, because of the miracles, now they have water. Now the world is green. And everywhere the signs of life spring up to show that what is born can never die. Right? For what has life has immortality. Right? Because you become aware of your true nature, which is not the physical form. Right? It is the extension of a thought in the mind of God. That's your true nature. And everywhere the signs of life spring up. Okay? And the world becomes vibrant. That's the real world. This is all very poetic. All right? I'm just going to read the first couple of lines of the quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him that give and him that takes. 'Tis mightiest in the mightiest. It becomes the throned monarch better than his crown. His scepter shows the force of temporal power. But mercy is above the sceptered way. It is enthroned in the hearts of kings. It is an attribute to God himself. And earthly power doth then show like God when mercy seasons justice. All right. In other words, we're channeling God when mercy seasons justice. And I think we could, in this instance, equate mercy with forgiveness, being willing to see the innocence. All right. It just reminded me because of the first line. All right. The quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven. And Jesus says, miracles fall like drops of healing rain from heaven on a dry and dusty world where starved and thirsty creatures come to die. All right, now they have water. All right, so the miracle rests on faith. All right, and every time we practice forgiveness, that faith becomes stronger because you see the world in a different way. Okay. All right. I am going to take care of my own starved and thirsty nature. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next question.